Good morning, shareholders. I am Kailasam Sundaram, Chairman of the Board of Deccan Gold Mines Limited. Today is Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021, and the time is now 11 a.m. At the outset, I welcome all of you to the 37th Annual General Meeting of Deccan Gold Mines Limited. This meeting is being held through video conference in accordance with the circular issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. Before we start the main proceedings of the meeting, I request my colleagues on the video conference to introduce themselves.
Good morning, shareholders. This is Hanuman Prasad, Managing Director of Deccan Gold Mines.
Good morning, shareholders. This is Subramanian. Good morning, shareholders. I'm Karunakaran.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Peshwa here.
Chairman, I, as a chairman, welcome the other directors, Mr. Govind Samant, Mr. Nateshan will be joining in their respective places. The other two directors, Revati and Vinay Pandey, also likely to join. Now, I confirm that the statutory auditors and the secretarial auditor are present for the meeting through video conferencing, and I welcome them to the meeting. We have the requisite quorum present through video conference to conduct the proceedings of this meeting. Participation of members through video conference is being reckoned for the purpose of quorum as per the circulars issued by MCA and Section 103 of the Companies Act 2013. The quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. Now, I request Subramaniam, Company Secretary, to provide general instruction to the members regarding participation of this meeting. Over to Subramaniam. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. So, members may note that this annual general meeting is being held through video conference in accordance with Companies Act 2013 and circulars issued by the MCA and SEBI. Facility for joining this meeting through video conference or other audio-visual means has been made available for the members on a first-come, first-served basis. As the AGM is being held through video conference, the facility for appointment of proxies by the members is not applicable, and hence the proxy register for inspection is not available. The company has received requests from a few members to register them as speakers at the meeting. Accordingly, the floor will be open for these members to ask questions or express their views at the appropriate time. The moderator will facilitate this session once the floor is open for questions. It may be noted that the company reserves the right to limit the number of members asking questions depending on the availability of time at the meeting. The company has provided the facility to cast votes electronically on all resolutions set forth in the notice. Members who have not cast their votes yet electronically and who are participating in this meeting will have an opportunity to cast their votes during the meeting through the e-voting system provided by Link in Time. Members are requested to refer to the instructions provided in the notice or appearing on the video conference page for seamless participation through video conference. In case members face any difficulty, they may reach out on the helpline numbers. Thank you very much. Over to the chair.
Thank you, Subramaniam. The company has taken all feasible efforts under the current circumstances to enable members to participate through video conference and vote at the AGM. I thank all the members, colleagues on the board, auditors, and the management team for joining this meeting over video conference. I hope all of you are safe and are in good health. I now request our company secretary to provide summary of the auditor's report.
The statutory auditors and the secretarial auditor have expressed unqualified opinions on their respective audit reports for the financial year 2020-21. There were no qualifications, observations, or adverse comments on financial statements and matters which have any material bearing on the functioning of the company. The statutory auditor's report on standalone financial statements and consolidated financial statements are available on page numbers 51 to 56 and from pages 76 to 80 of the annual report respectively. Further, secretarial auditor report is enclosed as annexure 5 to the board's report and which is available from page numbers 24 to 27 of the annual report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Subramaniam. As the notice is already circulated to all the members, with the consent of the members, I take the notice convening the meeting as read. We now come to the formal proceedings of the meeting. The board of directors have appointed Mr. Himamshu Amdar, Mrs. Rati Associates, practicing company secretary, as the scrutinized for the e-voting process. Further, I hereby authorize the company secretary to declare the results of the voting and place the results on the website of the company at the earliest. The resolutions, as set forth in the notice, shall be deemed to be passed today, subject to receipt of the requisite number of votes. Further, the combined results of remote e-voting and electronic voting at the venue, along with the scrutinizer's report, shall be communicated to BSE. The results shall also be placed on the website of the company and Link in Time. The results of the poll shall be displayed at least 3 days on the notice board of the company at its registered office and will be placed on the company's website. Also, the scrutinizers' reports will be placed on the website of the company and on service providers' website within 48 hours from the conclusion of the AGM. We now take up the resolutions as set forth in the notice. Remember that we are not taking hand vote here, so I will just read out the resolutions. Item number 1, adoption of accounts standalone and consolidated for the financial year ended 31st March 2021, together with the board's report and auditors' reports thereon. Item number 2 of the notice, reappointment of Mr. Govind Subhas Samant, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. Item number 3, appointment of Dr. Mudali Hanuma Prasad as Managing Director of the company for a period of 3 years from October 1, 2021 and approve the terms and conditions of reappointment. Item number 4, appointment of Mr. Subramaniam S. as full-time director of the company for a period of 3 years from October 1, 2021 and approve the terms and conditions of reappointment. Item number 5, appointment of Mr. Vinay Prakash Pandey as non-executive, non-independent director. Appointment of Mr. Kailasam S. as a non-executive independent director. Appointment of Mr. Nadesan C. as non-executive independent director. Reappointment of Mr. Sandeep Lakwara as managing director of the company for the period from May 1, 2021 to September 30th, 2021. The text of the resolutions along with the explanatory statement has been provided in the notice circulated to the members. All the items of today's AGM have now been transacted. Thank you for attending the meeting. To make his presentation to the shareholders. Over to Hanuman, sir.
Good morning to the shareholders. It's always pleasure to get in touch with you. A few years back, we have been meeting regularly in Bombay. Because of this pandemic, of course, this entire thing has been switched over into a VC mode. But it always gives a great pleasure for me to talk to you, and particularly with the new role that I have taken on from 1st of October. So one thing that I always appreciate with the Deccan shareholders in particular, that you are very informed and you always come with your views and ideas. There is a lot of interaction with the management. I think I haven't seen this kind of interaction in many other companies where I worked or where I sat on the boards, but I really appreciate this. I wish this will continue further as well. So I'm going to present basically what we are going to do in the next year or so as far as the Deccan and its operations are concerned. And so I prepared my presentation in a particular order, which gives all the activities that have happened in the past year and also the activities that are going to take place in the next 1 year or couple of years. Next one, please. So you all know, we are all pretty much informed about what is the situation, particularly with the new Mining Act amendment that has come into in force and where we stand as Deccan Gold Mines. I mean, at best, I can say that we are at the crossroads at this point of time because our key projects are still locked in a kind of legal battle with change in the amendments and the rules and regulations. But however, though there are some setbacks, there are new opportunities as well that DGML is going to pursue. I mean, let me once again emphasize that we will focus more on the future activities. Let us, the past, whatever has happened, we will keep on fighting for those licenses. But what we are going to do, I think most of my presentation will be on that one. So some of these new opportunities that we are pursuing in the last few months, we started doing it, is acquisition of significant stake, the equity stake in Geomysore. I think that has been informed to the shareholders through the BSE releases. This, I believe, will add significant value to the company because Geo Mysore has a granted mining lease, which is itself is a difficult task in this country. The second one is acquisition of leases in Tanzania. As a part of our program to expand into different jurisdictions, we have acquired licenses in Tanzania through our subsidiary company in Tanzania, and those licenses seems to be potential because they are very close to the existing and operating mines, and we will be expanding our activities there, and we will wait and see what the results are. And the third one is the Deccan is going to make a foray into the consultancy business. These opportunities have come up quite in a big way recently because the Indian government has changed the exploration policy in this country, which has thrown a lot of opportunities for consultancy. And being a very technically proactive company, DGML should take up that opportunity. So in a nutshell, if you see what we are going to do in the next going forward from here, these are the four key activities. One is acquisition of stake, which includes the Jonnagiri gold project, then the Tanzanian gold projects and the consultancy. And the third one, I am also going to speak a little bit on the Ganajur and Hatti licenses, and also what are the future plans of the company and what the kind of investments that we are looking forward to get into this company in the next year or so. Next one, please. So I think many of you must be wondering what is, some have information on Jonnagiri project because this is in a private company. It is not always a lot of information is made available to the public, but I thought I would take this opportunity to give a bit more on the Jonnagiri project, which if this transaction completes, Deccan will have a significant stake in this project. So Deccan owns this project once the transaction happens. So the Jonnagiri project, it's about 6 square kilometers of the mining lease, which has been granted, which has been executed, and it is valid for 50 years as per the new Mining Act. It is situated about 300 kilometers from Bangalore. It is in the state of Andhra Pradesh in Kurnool district. And all the statutory clearances, including environment clearances, mining plan approvals. And when you are actually into the operational stage, you need what is called as consent for establishment and consent for operation. That has been obtained, that are in place. Consent for establishment, actually every 5 years you have to renew it, and consent for operation has to be renewed on annual basis, which we, GMSA has been doing it. And government order for the water, that is the infrastructure part, has already been received. Approvals are in place for power. Power approvals are in the final stages, I must say, but whereas water approvals have already been received. And as far as the project, the technicalities of the project is concerned, we have completed, the Geo Mysore has completed NI 43-101 feasibility study on Jonnagiri project, which is to the standards of Canadian Stock Exchange, similar to the ZORC feasibility study that we have conducted on Ganajur project. Geo Mysore also has done that work, and they have used these following consultants like Turnberry Projects in South Africa, Golder Associates of Australia, Quasi Mining in South Africa, etc., etc. These were the consultants who worked on it. And as on today, I can pretty confidently say that the gold production, commercial gold production will happen in this project in the first quarter of 2023. The next one, please. So this is the resource position in Raji, can you push it up? Yeah. The resource position, if you see the map on the right hand side, that is the mining lease area, that square shaped box, that red colored outline. Within that, there are 4 blocks. They are called as East Block, North Block, West Block, and South Block. Actually, this very large mining lease area, that is literally 1,500 acres of the mining lease area. The gold mineralization is spread in 4 different blocks. So there are significant opportunities to increase the overall resource. As on today, based on the drilling that we have, the Geo Mysore has conducted, the total resource is about 409,000 ounces. Please make note that most of the drilling has been carried out only in 2 blocks, that is the East Block, mainly in the East Block actually, and some part in the West Block. So the East Block resource itself is about 292,000 ounces. And the West Block, there is a small resource of about 100,000 ounces, which could be an underground operation going forward, maybe after 10 years. So there is also additional unclassified resource of 45 45,000 ounces. Put together, the Zork resource is about 12.71 tons of gold. Bulk of it is in the East Block, and there is also an additional resource of about 45,000 in the East Block. So most of the work for the next 10 years, the plans, next slide please. The plan is to open a pit in the East Block. So the mining will commence in the East Block. You can clearly see blue and red colored boxes there. That is the gold bearing ore body. And you can see yellow and brown color pits. That is the ultimate pit, how it looks like when it is mined out. So 10 years mine life is projected mainly for the East Block, and 180 meter of deep pit will be done. And the recovery, I don't want to be too technical, but these are some of the things I think as shareholders, you also should appreciate that there is a good recovery of gold from this. That's a very critical factor for the success of the project. So 92% recovery through gravity CIL circuit, and 1500 tons per day is the kind of operation that has been envisaged for this. So that would give about 25,000 ounces or 750 kilos production. If the tons per day is escalated to 2,000 or 2,500 tons, then we are looking at more than 1 ton of gold production on annual basis. And it's an open pit mine. So from the day one, we'll get into the revenue stream. If you see the cost of production, just capex, if I don't load the cost of capital into this or the capital into it, the all-in sustaining cost is about $589 per ounce as against the sale price of $1,800 as on today. And if you take it in Indian terms, because producing gold in India, there is an advantage being a domestic producer because you have the 10% import duty added to your sale price. So 1,300 grams is the cost of production in Jonnagiri project. That is OPEX, mainly mining and processing costs. If you load the capital cost for 7 years, it will be around 1,900 rupees, which is still, quite a profitable considering almost 5,000 rupees per gram of gold price. Apart from the East Block, there are opportunities to develop West Block, South, North blocks. So the overall life of the project could very well exceed 15 to 20 years. That is the beauty of this project. And coming to the land acquisition, I think that is the most critical thing in India. The mining lease, as I said, has about 1,500 acres. It covers 1,500 acres. Mostly they are private lands. We are, with the Geomeister has been working with leasing arrangements with various landowners since 2007, in fact. So we have 14 years of very long association with the farmers, which is actually beneficial. In India, in my belief, if you don't have social license, you cannot simply operate. So Geomysore has established that over 14 years of long-standing relation with the farmers. So they are going to acquire about 350 acres of land out of this 1,500, which includes mine, processing facility, and other infrastructure. Land acquisition has already commenced, and Geomysore has acquired 120 acres of land. It actually secured rights. Part of it is already registered. I think half of it is already registered. Another half sale agreements have been signed. And this 120 acres includes the main land of the East Block pit. So the gold resource land is already in the kitty, and the land acquisition is expected to complete by February 2026. That is when the construction will start. And once construction starts, it will take about 12 to 15 months to complete the construction. Once processing plant is ready, we are getting into the gold production. Hence, the projected figures are end of first quarter of 2023 when the commercial gold production starts. No, previous one. So one other achievement that we have done in this project, we have commenced removing the overburden. As I said, the overburden also carries a lot of gold. So the mining of gold bearing overburden top layers is going on. You can see the mining operations. That is the first day of the mining operation actually. That's why you see a small pit there. So mining operations have been started, and on the right hand side you can see the dump. The ore has been stacked in the place, and we have also, Geomeister has also decided to set up a small processing plant which would create gravity concentrates. So what it actually means is it will show exactly how we have to, what is the kind of quality of the gold that we are going to recovery in the gravity circuit that will be established. And also when we go and build the larger plant, this will give us an idea how to formulate how to structure that big processing plant. So that small processing plant is being done this week. We are going to actually get the machinery and all fitted in that project. In fact, I was hoping to get some concentrates before this AGM, but unfortunately that did not happen. But I am very confident by the end of this month, end of 2021, we would have produced gold bearing concentrates, which I will update once we have those concentrates in hand. So as I said, the full scale commercial production of 750 kgs per annum will start in the first quarter of 2023. Next one. Yeah. So, I mean, I will just sum it up on the Jonnagiri project. If you can see the red blob on the eastern side, that is the east block, that is where the mine is going to be. And all those purple color blobs are the areas where there are exploration targets, where additional drilling is already commenced, like in south block we are drilling, west block we have drilled. They all will add up the resources. And the purpose of this slide is to show what is the upside potential of the project, which eventually adds to the life of the mine. So this is about the Jonnagiri project. As and when we get more results, I will update the shareholders through the BSc release. So next I'll move on to the Tanzanian project. Next one. So these are the licenses that Deccan has acquired through its subsidiary company, and Mr. Peshwa, who was instrumental in getting these projects into the company, is pretty much with us. And so I'll just run through these slides quickly. As you can see, I think many of you are aware that the Tanzania is one of the better jurisdictions. Personally, that's what I feel. And also it's a very potential ground for the gold exploration. And it's one of the large gold producers in East Africa. You can see the big mines like Bulyanhulu, Buzwagi and Golden Pride. They're the big mines which are operated by Anglo Gold, Barrick, etc. So our licenses are, we have about 5 licenses in the Lake Victoria goldfields. 4 PLs are in the Nzega Greenstone Belt, that is again a world-class gold province. And Nzega Tabora Greenstone Belt contains several gold mines, including Buzwagi and Golden Pride. And Golden Pride is about 25 kilometers east of our Nzega prospecting license areas, and Buzwagi is about 20 kilometers from the licenses. The Gita PL, the other PL, which is located in the Gita Greenstone Belt, and there are 2 big mines there. That is one Bulyanhulu mine, which has about 180 tons of gold, and Gita mine, which is very close to our project actually, that also has close to 180, 200 tons of mine gold. So I think we have picked the licenses in a right geological potential areas. Only thing is we need to do a lot of exploration work to see the potential, and hopefully we'll get good results. Next one, please. So since we acquired the licenses, these are the works that we have carried out. We did the desktop studies, collected a lot of information, particularly geological and magnetic data. These are the 2 things which are required to take to assess the potential and plan the exploration program. I think that we have completed. And what we have noticed is one of the shear zones which hosts the Golden Pride gold deposit passes through our key license area. So that is where our confidence of striking something comes, because these are the shear zones which carry the gold mineralization, and these are the potential areas. And there are also artisanal miners like Yugusile artisanal mine is just 1.25 kilometers from one of the licenses. So these are the prime target areas. We have already initiated sampling there. Rock samples have yielded anomalous values, 0.7 grams per ton and 1.1 gram per ton. I think it's too early to say anything at this point of time, but we can only say it's a geologically potential area. Geological mapping and geochemical sampling is planned. Once we have secured some investment into the company, we are going to take up this work. Next one, please. So the third thing that I wanted to highlight is on the consultancy. The consultancy sector in India is improving, particularly the exploration in the mineral sector. if you are aware of the recent amendments that have been made by the Government of India, Minister of Mines, they are throwing open exploration work to the private agencies. And the top of their mind, they want to do a lot of exploration from the precious metals. And in India, there are only few companies who can offer these kind of consultancy services, particularly in precious metals, and that is Deccan Gold, Geomysore, and some of our group of companies, because they have built up that technical capabilities over a long period of time. So there, I strongly believe there is an opportunity to pierce through the consultancy sector. And also the second line of opportunities, many Indian companies are acquiring projects overseas. Again, they are into the gold and other precious commodities. They always bank on us. We get a lot of inquiries from the people who are acquiring assets, particularly in Africa and CIS countries. So that is where I think we'll have a lot of opportunity. And as I said, accreditation is something government is allowing now for the private companies so that they can get the government contracts directly. So if you see the consultancy, these are the three areas that we are going to build in the company. One is accreditation with the Government of India, for which applications are being prepared and we are going to get the accreditation. That itself is a process actually. It won't happen instantaneously. It would take some time because you have to pull in drilling companies, you have to create MOUs with them. We are in the process of doing it. I am hopeful that it will be done very soon. And in terms of overseas consultancy project, this is something which I wanted to elaborate a bit. There is a gold project in Kyrgyzstan, which the Australian Indian Resources, which eventually is going to be part of Deccan Gold Mines, has been doing some work for last 1 year, and now we are finalizing the agreements for the longer consultancy project in this area. And the third one is building network overseas. Obviously, we need someone to campaign for us overseas and get the contracts to us. Recently, Deccan has signed an agreement with a Dubai-based company that will be like an outpost for us. They will campaign for us. They will try to get the consultancy contracts to us, and it is all success fee based. So we don't have to pay anything upfront to them. It is really they work as an outpost to us. So these are the three things that I think will get us a sustainable revenue, at least to meet our operational expenditure. Next one, please. Let me give a brief on the gold project in Kyrgyzstan. This is Altintor gold project located in southeast part of Kyrgyzstan. You can see the mine on the top and the processing facility. It is an aerial view, actually. We took it from a helicopter. And then the third one is the processing facility. It's an operating gold mine within gold processing facility. They are producing gold now from it's been happening for the last 10, 12 years. So government is planning to expand the entire gold mine as well as the processing facility. One of the Indian mining houses is acquiring the project. That is where we have been doing due diligence on this project on a consultancy basis. When I said we, this Australian Indian Resources has been doing this. I mean, I must also add that this all been structured through AIR because once AIR becomes part of Deccan, this project automatically falls into the lap of Deccan. So that's how it has been structured from the beginning. So now with the efforts of AIR, the project is being acquired. Agreements have been signed between the Indian corporate and the company in Kyrgyzstan. That is, it's a government project, as I said. So those agreements have been signed, and AIR is finalizing the management consultancy agreement, wherein our technical people, including the geologists, mining engineers, will be involved and they look over the day-to-day management of the company in Kyrgyzstan. So there is a lot of time spent there, and we will be the expected revenue out of this is close to $25,000 per month, and I'm hoping to get it from next month into AIR. And once this contract would become part of DGML once acquisition is completed. I think depending on how the scheme of arrangement and the acquisition happens, maybe in another 5-6 months, the actual revenues, the contract will be readjusted with DGML. This is something which I am very bullish. And also we are talking to this Indian corporate to invest into the project at a later date. Definitely not today. Today we cannot do it, but at a later date, we can invest into the project to further expand and there are opportunities to expand this project going forward. So we'll be investing it. But at that point of time, when we invest, we'll take a fully informed decision because that's in a producing mind. Also, we'll be working as a management consultants. I think that's a better way of spending our funds into a risk-free project. That's how I view it. So very soon I will update once the agreements are signed and once the money starts flowing into the company. Next one, please. So this is mostly the technical part and what we plan to do. That is acquisition of the stake in GeoMysore and the consultancy projects, the Tanzanian projects, etc., etc. Then I will touch upon few other things in the company, that is acquisition of stake in GeoMysore services. I think all of you are fully aware what is the plan that has been informed to the market through BSc releases. So DGML plans to acquire significant stake in GeoMysore, which has granted and executed mining lease, and that would provide much needed security to DGML shareholders, particularly when the license is on its flagship project, that is Jonnagiri, is in a legal battle. So I think having a granted mining lease would help the cause for the Deccan shareholders. Yes, one day when I'm hopeful that one day when we get the Jonnagiri, that's a bumper crop. I think every DGML shareholder would love it. But we also need a security. I think the Jonnagiri project and the GMS acquisition will provide that kind of security at this point of time. And as I said, the granted mining lease of Jonnagiri may provide avenue for raising capital for Deccan in India and abroad. So because there are many investors who want to come through a listed platform, but they also want a granted mining lease. So then once this acquisition happens, Deccan would provide a listed platform as well as a granted project. So that increases our opportunities as well. And the acquisition of significant stake in GeoMysore is sought to be achieved by the DGML taking over the entire paid-up capital of AIR and acquiring GeoMysore shares directly from its shareholders and share swap arrangement. I think this scheme of arrangement has already been uploaded on our website, and you can actually have a look at it. And many documents related to it has already been done. And this scheme of arrangement will be done through a scheme approved by NCLT. This is the advice given to us by the merchant bankers, based on which we are proceeding. And for this, the prior approvals from RBI, BSE, and SEBI are required. Currently, the scheme is under review with the RBI and BSE, and we believe no clearances are required from overseas jurisdictions, but we are still talking to some of the people in Australia and Mauritius. But the first information that we got is that the further clearance may not be required. So that would save the time for this entire transaction to happen. And we believe this transaction could be completed by the end of July 2022. But that is, based on whatever the information that is available to us as on date. So next one, I try to provide a bit of a flow chart, how the things would move once the composite scheme has been prepared and it has been lodged with the BSE. I think the dates are not very clear to me, but we are going to upload this presentation onto our website so you can access this flow chart and you can view it. So RBI we have done it on 29th of October, and the BSE we had done it on 28th of October. RBI, the departments within the RBI, they have gone through it and they have sent letters to us that they have taken note of the scheme and they have asked us to contact our authorized dealer, that is the Kotak Bank, who will assist further once the scheme is approved through the NCLT. So I think with the RBI, the process is more or less complete. So our authorized dealer, that's Kotak Bank, is also giving a written letter to us on what are the next steps to be taken. And as far as the BSE is concerned, it has been reviewed by both the compliance and the listing team. Initially, they have submitted some queries to us, which have been replied to them. And recently, as recent as today, they have, through their interface, they have sent some more queries to us, and we are going to attend those queries. Once those queries are finally approved, they will send it to the SEBI, and we were told that once BSE is clear with their approvals and all, SEBI's approval is very quick. It is not going to take much time. So once all these three things are done, which we hope will be completed by end of January, sorry, 30th of January, I think we'll be able to complete. That's when we will launch the scheme through NCLT. And once it's lodged with NCLT, it will go to the when NCLT reviews it and asks the Deccan shareholders to approve this. Once Deccan shareholders approves, the final approval from NCLT will come, and then share transaction will happen. And we believe again that based on the current situation, probably end of July, we will have the transaction completed. We will see and we'll keep you updated on the developments of this particular scheme. Next one. So I'll also want to brief you on the couple of key licenses, which as a Deccan shareholders, because we have been struggling for last many years to get this some of the best projects in the country. That's what I believe, and hats off to our technical team. We have discovered these projects, and it's unfortunate we had to fight for these projects like this. But I mean, some things we cannot just avoid. So a writ petition has been filed before Honorable High Court of Karnataka by DSPL. I mean, there is a lot of history. I think you are all familiar with it, so I am not going into it. And we filed for early hearing petition, and matter came up on December 17, 2021. And our legal team argued that while passing its order on July 16th on the Ganajur ML, the Ministry of Mines has wrongly observed that our right to obtain the said ML has lapsed after amendment of Section 10A2B in 2021, and we are not covered by the said 2021 Amendment Act. And we have also requested to the court that to grant an interim order directing the respondent not to take respondent in this case is Minister of Mines and the state government not to take any precipitative action, and the court was pleased to order, which was done in an identical case. So court directed issue of notices to the respondent and also directed them not to take any precipitative action in the matter. I think that is considering the present scenario, it's a good result that we have got. And the next hearing is on 4th February 2022. And as I said, we'll continue to fight our legal rights, and shareholders will be updated on the developments of this particular license. And at this point of time, at least if you can hold it so that it doesn't go into the auction, I think that is a good result. And let us see what happens to this. Next one. So similarly, the Hatti licenses, as you know, we have won it through the Supreme Court, and then there were hearings held, and the first and second and final hearing was held on 11th of August 2021, and presented our case and filed our written replies. The secretary posted the matter for orders. So far, nothing has happened, and now we are in discussion with our legal counsel to explore the possibility of lodging another writ petition on this particular license. Again, the objective is to get an interim order similar to that of Ganajur case, so that if the state should not take any precipitative action on these licenses. So, I mean, I do understand that these are the two very emotive issues for our shareholders, particularly Ganajur and Hatti, because we have spent a lot of money, time, our emotional time on this. But I assure you that we will do whatever that needs to be done to get these licenses. Next one, please. And this is another subject which I want to briefly touch on, the optimization of costs. Yes, we are in we must agree that we are in a difficult position as far as the finances are concerned. And we are in the process of optimizing costs. I mean, there are a lot many people have left. And so we haven't replaced any of them, and we are running with the skeletal staff. And we are also looking at reducing the rental and other operating expenses. We have already done it. On the right side, you can see that there is a significant reduction from 2020 to 2021, and from 40 lakhs, which we were doing previously, it has now come down to 2021. I do take the point that most of this reduction is because many employees have left, and only a small amount of staff is left now with whom we are working. And we are looking for further optimization of the costs, maybe reducing some more rentals. And also, what I am thinking is we should have a salary structures based on the milestones. And so that is under consideration. We are discussing. Please be assured that this is on the top of our mind as well. And we are trying to do, it's a bit of a thing that we don't want people to be demoralized, but at the same time, you need to cut the cost. So that we have to hit that fine balance. As a part of this, I would like to say that I am going to take a significant salary cut, and I would like to restructure my salary based on the milestones. The milestones could be bringing the revenue into the company or bringing completion of the scheme of the arrangement, acquisition or funding. So some of these things I am in discussion with board to actually cut my salary almost maybe 60%. That's what I'm going to do from December itself. So once again, I would like to say that this is something which we need to do. And but I am very hopeful by July, when our costs are in the range of 15, 18 to 20 lakhs, we will be able to get the money so that at least part of our expenditure is met by the revenues that are coming into the company. Next one. So the other aspect which I want to cover is the investment. Recently, you might have seen that we are planning to raise about 10 to 15 crores through the rights issue. That's what we have. And at the same time, we are talking to the few investors whether preferential allotment is possible. But in the event if it is not, then I think this is but this is the quantum of money that we want to raise, and the money will go into the exploration of Tanzanian projects, then acquisition of stake in Indian and overseas projects. As I said, if there is an opportunity to invest into the Indian project, which includes, of course, Jonnagiri, and if there is an opportunity to invest into the overseas projects like the Kyrgyzstan project, if it requires money, we can always take a stake. The stake could be smaller, but it is a meaningful stake so that they're all producing mine or near producing assets. So part of the money will go into it. And obviously, we require money for the transaction, completion of this particular scheme that we are doing. And also legal fees are required for Jonnagiri and Hatti projects. And I think you also might have seen government is going to put some of the blocks or auction, and we need expenses for participating in those auctions. So to cover all these costs, we estimate about 10 to 15 crores are required at this stage. But in the next phase, it is again based on the number of milestones that could be achieved by July. The company may plan for a bigger fundraise to the tune of about 150 crores. I think that money will go into the producing or near producing assets, not definitely into the exploration or greenfield stuff. So that 150 crore, in my belief, will go into the funds required for the construction of Jonnagiri project if it is required, or by then we would have reached to some point in the Tanzanian projects or some of the overseas projects where we are doing consultancy. We may have an opportunity to take a significant stake and become a producer. So that I think in July, based on the milestones that we achieve, we'll plan for the bigger fundraise and we'll come to the shareholders at that point of time how to raise the money, what are the mechanism to do it, whether it is a rights issue or there may be shareholders who are interested. There may be investors who are interested, particularly because once the transaction of Jonnagiri happens and then some development takes place, we may become kind of attractive to the bigger potential investors. So next one. Finally, how do I see this company in the next 12 to 24 months? We would have acquired significant stake in the near producing gold assets or producing gold assets on its way to become a gold producer in next 15 to 18 months. I am very sure of Jonnagiri project, and probably if we take stake in some of the overseas projects, we will be into the ticking the box of being a producer, and ideally some money would have come into the through consultancy and we would have become a significant player in the consultancy business with a consistent revenue stream, which should take care of some of our operating expenses of the company. And as I said, acquisition of stake in overseas gold projects through consultancy and investments will, I think, will happen. So maybe in the next 18 months, we would 18 to 24 months, we would be a kind of junior to mid-tier gold producer. I think that is the vision I have as a team we have, and we will march forward to achieve that one. And at the same time, yes, there are legal battles here. We'll continue to fight on the legal battles. I think at some point of time, we need to look forward into the future and see how the company can grow over the next few years rather than just stuck to the previous, whatever that has happened previously. I mean, obviously, we are all affected by it. I'm also a shareholder in this company. I'm just not, most of us sitting here are shareholders, and we also feel bad for whatever that has happened with our licenses in India. But I think at some point of time, we have to be realistic and move forward and look for the other avenues. I am confident that we will reach to a point where Deccan will be a gold producer, and that will be the only listed gold producer in this country, maybe in the next 18 months. And once again, I thank you very much, and the support that you are giving to the company, and I expect and I am sure that we'll get the same support from you. And thank you very much, and I look forward to catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atma Prasad, for a candid presentation to the shareholders. Now shall open the floor for taking questions from shareholders. But before that, I would request the company secretary to provide some brief points to shareholders in this regard.
Dear shareholders, thank you for taking time and joining our 37th AGM today. So before we go live with the session, here are some points to note for your convenience. Kindly turn on your video when you are projected on the broadcast screen and unmute yourself and proceed to ask your questions. Please mention your name and the location from where you are joining. Once you have asked your question, you can log off and continue to watch the proceedings. So each shareholder will have 2 minutes for their questions, and avoid repetition and enable smooth flow of questions. The board will respond after all the questions have been taken. So now move over to the moderator too. So I think first on the list is Mr. Vijay Bayani. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our first speaker shareholder, Mr. Vijay?
Bayani.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi. Good morning to everyone, and thanks a lot for the detailed presentation, Mr. Hanuma Prasad. I welcome you as the new MD on the board, and thanks a lot for a very detailed presentation on the series of events that are likely to unfold over the next 1 year and going forward. And most importantly, I really appreciate your initiative in starting newer revenue streams for the company, starting from Jonnagiri to the consultancy work. Even if it is a very small revenue, it is a step in the right direction. And besides that small revenue, more important is the opportunity to invest in short projects which are risk-free. And wherever there is a likelihood, like you said about Kyrgyzstan, in case we find enough opportunity there, we will have that option to invest. That is a really good initiative. It may not sound very good for the next 1 year in terms of the P&L potential, but I am sure with a longer term outlook, this one and more such projects come together can actually become a good basket, the stream of revenues for the company. On Jonnagiri, I would like to really congratulate the way the whole thing is being now taken up. This was one step which we should have done a long back, but it's definitely good that it is happening now. And you actually gave a timeline, which I wanted to ask you about, but you have given a detailed timeline about how it will unfold and what will go on. Just what I would like to ask you about that is that what can go wrong in this NCLT process, how long it can take, if you can expand more on that. And about the equity stake, so do we believe that eventually it will end up with Deccan Gold owning 49% stake in the company. So can you please confirm that, or whatever will be the variation in that? Secondly, Ganajur, of course, we all know what is happening, but if you can elaborate a bit more on the probability, although we know, we have a very strong case, but the government is not inclined on both sides and all that. But if you can give some scenario analysis on what if the government still persists on not giving us, or what are our options when it goes into, let's say, if it goes into auction, then how can we still try to salvage something out of that, and some detailed possibility scenarios on how we can still keep Ganajur option open. Ganajur, of course, includes Hatti and other things also. Tanzania, it looks like it is still right now. It is in the prospecting stage, and it is definitely the area considering that the global gold producing companies are already extracting gold in that region. Looks like it should be very promising, and so I'm sure you are in the right direction. And I also realize that unfortunately, for lack of funds, probably we will have to take it rather slowly. But is it possible that, let's say, by the end of next 1 year, we will actually have some mining licenses for Tanzanian projects, or what are the possibilities in that? And last one, my question is on the rights issue, the current one which is already announced. If you can give some timelines and other details about the rights issue. So these are some of my questions. And most important, I am really excited about that now in the history of Deccan Gold, for the first time now, there is absolute certainty that the company will be actually producing gold. Earlier, it was a lot of hopes and legal cases were there, and other things everybody is known now. But now, for the first time, assuming that finally this Jonnagiri thing also materializes, Tanzania and other things, it looks like it is only a matter of time. We are on the right track now. So I really appreciate the management team for really, like Mr. Anu Prasad, you said in your statement, that we have to take the reality now and move on. So, irrespective of Ganajur, whether happens or not, we are sure to have extract gold, and that is really something very, very good for the company and for the stock price also, we hope. So that's it from my side, and you can take my questions now or later.
Thank you, sir. May I
Uh,
now request
Devendra,
may I now request our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Devinder Gupta. Sir, you may speak now.
Good morning to everybody.
Morning.
morning.
Okay, is my voice audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Hanuprasad, congratulations to you for taking over, and thank you for a very refreshing presentation. We are glad that after many years we are not seeing the same old slides and we are seeing some future. So, compliments to you and the team for this. I have couple of questions. My first question is that, what are the risks you see in the Jonnagiri project implementation? Because you are saying that there is a possibility of production in Q1 of calendar year 2023. What are the things which can, make it go further to Q2 or Q3? Or are there any things which can be done where shareholders can also support, so that instead of Q1 23, it can happen sometime in 2022? That is one. Compliments to you on, milestone-based salary structure. I am very glad to see that. I want to know, you're trying to fix accountability, which is the right thing to do. What about the accountability of the board? I see in Deccan there is no accountability of the board. As the earlier speaker said that, this merger should have taken place 7 years ago, because when we subscribed to the right issue in 2014, that time this merger was contemplated. So I think the existing board members need to be made accountable for that. So I would like to know from the chairman especially how he's trying to fix the accountability of the board. Regarding Tanzania, it's a great area. I worked in that continent. It's the best place to get a gold license. But we will like, this has been, under consideration now for nearly 15 months, if I'm not mistaken. So we wish you all the best in that. But we will like to know, what are the milestones which you're planning to achieve and what are the timelines so that, like earlier things, it is not, prolonging and prolonging in perpetuity. So these are three questions which I have.
Thank you, sir.
Now the moderator can invite Mr. Imran Ghani, next speaker.
So Mr. Imran Ghani is not present in the panel. I would
Okay.
request our next speaker shareholder, Mr. Rajiv Agarwal.
Yeah, you can.
Rajiv sir, you may speak now.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate Mr. Hanuma to be the MD of the company. And I presume now we are in safer hands. Most of the questions have already been asked. My questions were regarding Jonnagiri, Hoti, and Ganajur. So those questions have already been asked. I have one question. Suppose we get Tanzania licenses and we are able to find gold there. So can we sell these licenses without gold mining? That is my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. So now I think the moderator is requested to invite Mr. Anand Sarvaya.
So Mr. Anand Sarvaya is not present in the panel. We can proceed with the next proceeding.
So I think we have taken all the questions now. So now we will endeavor to answer the questions to the extent possible, and then
Yeah.
any question requiring detailed answers, we'll come back to the sharing.
Yeah, once again, I thank all of you for your questions, because that questions always make us to think. So the first one is Mr. Vijay Bhayani's query on equity stake, and some of the things I answer, and some of the queries on Tanzania, Peshwa is here, and also the chairman would respond to some of the queries. So as far as the equity stake on Jonnagiri is concerned, the current arrangement that Geo Mysore had is that Triveni is going to fund the major shareholder in Geo Mysore. Triveni is going to fund the project and get to somewhere around 51, 52% in that Geo Mysore. And then it becomes, Geo Mysore technically becomes their subsidiary, and they would raise the debt which will be serviced by Geo Mysore. So on that account, Deccan will have the balance of about 48, 49%. That is the arrangement which has been approved by the board of Geo Mysore. Having said that, if going forward things could change, if Deccan can raise money and wants to, if there is a Deccan has a clear plan of acquiring majority stake in Geo Mysore and can fund the project on its own, I think Geo Mysore there may not be any opposition to it. Eventually, the Triveni also would like this project to go forward as quick as possible, and that is for our best interest also. So, as on today, to sum up, the equity stake that Deccan will have is around 48, 49. But there will be, this is my belief again, there will be an opportunity to get to the majority stake in Geo Mysore. So that is on this one, Jonnagiri project. And when I am on this project, I would also respond to the risks attached to the Jonnagiri project. I think by and large, in technical risk, I think we have completely covered the technical risk. The second one is regulatory and the social licensing risk. Regulatory risks are also completely covered, because we are, as per the Mining Acts, we are always, we are there, like consent for establishment, consent for operation from the Pollution Control Board. They are all in place. IBM renewals are in place, and we have developed, Geo Mysore has developed a significant rapport with the government agencies and regulators. So that I don't see any problem there. The third risk is the social licensing risk, and which would generally come into the land acquisition. As I said during my presentation, it's a 14 years of association that we have with the company. Personally, myself and the managing director of Geo Mysore, that J. Devanesh, we have spent a lot of time and we understand the social fabric. I think that has been minimized, significantly minimized that particular risk. Having said that, I mean, I don't want to be in India, if there is any risk of delay, I don't see that this project is going to be stopped or going to be get into some sort of shelved, that kind of scenario. But the risk would be actually on the in the social front only. But I think if you want me to put in terms of numbers, that could be around 10% is the kind of risk that this project may have from the social licensing side. So that is on the project, and I will just leave on the Ganajur and Hatti licenses. I mean, we all know. I mean, last week I was speaking in CII conference where Mines Minister was also present, and he made it very clear that all the licenses that they want to auction, that whatever may come. So that's the kind of mindset they have, and so in that backdrop, it will not be a cakewalk for us to get Ganajur and Hatti licenses. But as I said, we will keep fighting. And the mindset as on today in both state and central governments is auction as much as possible, get the revenue. I think from their perspective, when I discuss with them, what they say is auctioning is the transparent mechanism of giving the projects to the bidders. But having come this far, we have our licenses, we have our rights, we have done a lot of work. So our case stands separately from the general bandwagon. So that is it would be a difficult scenario to get it. And but we will fight for those licenses. And the other one is the selling of Rajiv Agarwal's query on selling of licenses. I think it's in the exploration and mining industry. It's like whenever you add value, you can always sell the licenses. And in Tanzania, I think Peshwa would respond what is the regulation and how it is being done. And in terms of the rights issue, again, the when it's going to be done, I think February, March is the time that we want to complete the rights issue and have money in the kitty so that some money need to go into Tanzanian exploration. There are timelines attached to it. And also the entire NCLT process would be maturing by then. So we would require money for the transaction. And also the next, the legal cases also will be coming up during that period, the payments for the lawyers and all. So I think that is the time that we want to close it, like February or mid-March. So these are the kind of timelines that we have in mind. With more definitive timelines, obviously will come back. Peshu, would you like to respond?
Yeah. So good morning again. So this is regarding Tanzanian project. So we have selected these 5 PL blocks based on a lot of desk work studies as well as a lot of research has gone into this. And finally, we selected these 5 blocks. They're definitely well within the world-class Lake Victoria region, and they are known for gold mineralization as well as gold mining activities in and around that area. The question number 1 was whether we can move from PL stage to mining license stage. Yes. So as per their mining acts, whatever we have studied, we have gone through everything in detail. So once we establish some kind of resource in that block, 5 PL blocks, we can directly go for mining license. Even it can happen within 1 year time. So in the next year, if we suppose we do all the exploration as we have presented in the annual report, if we can complete that, probably we may end up in finding some resources, and then we can immediately apply for a mining license, and it is seamless. There is no restriction on getting mining license there. Regarding the sale of the assets, yes, any time we can add value to that assets, and then we can go for sell if it is required. If it is not required, we can always continue, and definitely our aim is not to sell off, and we want to really establish a mine there also. Like what we are getting in India, we also want to have a very good gold mining operation in Tanzania. So these two things are the answers for your two queries. Yeah, regarding timelines, of course, we have given in the, if you read the annual reports, we have given what are the exploration strategy. If you go through the page number 10, we have given everything. And with a very bare minimum exploration expenditure, we can carry out all these activities. And we are pretty sure that we will be able to get some very good results, very positive results once we complete these activities.
Thank you, Peshwa. Thank you. There is a question about the accountability of the board by one shareholder, Devendra Gupta. So I would like to assure to the investors that the same board which has given all these initiatives for all their approval to move forward, which is seeking shareholders' approval. They are all professionals, all independent directors are professional. They are aware of their roles and responsibilities, and they have been discharging it very diligently. And I can definitely assure you on a personal basis, as well as on behalf of the board, I've been talking to the newly appointed MD of the company, Dr. Anuma Prasad, in striking the revenue for this company. That's our first and foremost motto. And that's where we have been driven and come to the consultancy area where we can start earning some revenue to meet the operational expenses. That's number one, I can assure you this board. We have been driving this very diligently and very consciously. I've been talking to the MD of the company. Number two, that based on the milestone achievement, he has already, we have requested, and he has also agreed that he will take the cost cutting. Cost cutting continues to be focused on this company. You might have seen that people have already resigned, were not replaced. There is, we are very conscious about to bring down the cost as much as we can, so that the consultancy revenue should be able to absorb the cost of what we are incurring. So these two areas, we are definitely assuring the shareholders. The aim of this board, current board, I can assure you that earliest possible time we want to strike the revenue for this company. One is a short term, another is a long term. Short term being the consultancy services, on which also we are driving the MD to ensure that it should be consistent, on which he is working. And number two, the long term being the investment which you are likely to make it in the project, Jonnagiri project, which should result in production of gold as he expected to be in the first quarter of 2023. So I can assure the investor in particularly that this current board is very cost conscious and driving the entire first line management to strike the revenue at the earliest possible. Thank you. Yeah. Now I think we are happy to take all your questions and we have answered. We welcome your email queries if anything is there, and our company secretary will respond to that. With this, the 37th annual general meeting comes to an end. Thank you for all your participation. I wish all you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much.